Veronica. Okay. At the beginning of the scene, when both of your girls on the floor, make sure the volume is picked up. I was losing a lot of their lines and having to really strain. Part of that is because they're sitting down, so naturally when you're sitting down, your diaphragm's not going to be as supported. So it's a natural tendency. The lower you are physically on stage, the lower your volume gets. So just make sure that we don't lose that, especially over the shuffle of their props. I love what they're doing with their props, but the more they move with their hands and boxes and things around the stage, the more I'm losing their voice. So they need to compensate and really kick that up. Great characterization. Your scene is doing really well with that. It's all three of them have great motivation and clearly understand who they are in the scene, and that definitely shows. More so actually than a lot of scenes that I've seen. I love the levels on your floor. It's very visually interesting and it looks very comfortable and very natural. I think that's just, I don't know what that means. We're going to ignore that. Chelsea. Chelsea is a little too defensive on the line of I'm young, okay? And in general, Chelsea's a little too defensive the whole time. She needs to be taken down just a hair, because at this point her anger is coming out more than anything else. And I've seen this scene done before, and so I'm already familiar with it. And I feel like her character is not quite so angry. It needs to be mixed in with confusion and a little bit of frustration and trying to hide the fact that she's trying to sell these stamps. I think if you tell her to play it a little more frustrated than angry, that will fix the intensity problem. There's great chemistry between the girls. They very much act like half-sisters. Okay, after Ashley tosses the book on the bench, instead of having her turn around and cross closer to Chelsea, I would have her throw the book and then walk around the bench. That way it's Ashley, bench, and then Chelsea, because the bench is a good visual representation of something that's between them. And Ashley's getting a little bit stuck right there in the center. And so if you have her behind the bench, not only is that a physical barrier between them, but it'll turn her out so she's not being lost to that side of the audience. Which you did address, I know, her hair, so I can tell that you're aware of them, facing out. Oh, I love the kiss stop greeting with Demisa when he comes in with Chelsea. That was wonderfully done. Demisa's attitude is fantastic. I think Demisa's doing that even better than the actor that I saw play it a couple years ago. Very, very nicely done. The three of them get stuck in a straight line a lot, kind of in the center, and that needs to be fixed. Whether you need to spread them out and have people behind the table or the bench or even in triangles, they just get stuck right there in the center in a straight line a lot. So that needs to be fixed. Pick at least 2 places in that second scene where you have them in a straight line right now and move one of them, because it's just not working with the straight line. Demisa has great attitude, but make sure he kicks up the volume, because I was straining to hear him some of the times. So make sure his characterization doesn't end up way down here to where I lose him because he's getting quieter. Okay. There's a part where Ashley has already left and it's just Chelsea and Demisa on stage. And right now, Demisa is on the bench and Chelsea is leaning against that gray table. Don't do that. Have her move on the other side of the table. Again, because that is a physical barrier between them. And that will represent the barrier that's there within the scene. And when she leans against the table, it's too nonchalant. It looks too much like a college kid that's just agitated. So if she is on the other side of the table, where the table is between them, she can lean like on the table across it forward. So that gives a little bit of a defensive stance rather than her leaning back on the table, because then she just looks too comfortable with him, and I don't think she's comfortable with him at this point. Yeah, her body just needs to be more tense and aggravated. Have her retreat from him after height. I'm not entirely sure what this means. Maybe you will know. I have the note awkward pause. Have him retreat, or have her retreat from him after the height of tension. They're awkward. That's probably between Demisa and Chelsea and something about the stamps. Just make sure after there's a peak in tension, actors separate. Because when your bodies are that close, at that point there has to be a physical assault, a kiss, or one of the actors has to get away. Like, that's the only options on stage. And since they're not going to have a physical assault or a kiss, she needs to move. So just make sure that there's not this great build and then this awkward, I just stand here. Make sure you get the cups right away if you have not already been practicing with them, because you don't want tech night to be the first time they have cups and water with them. Ashley needs to make a little bit more eye contact when she's talking to Demisa. I think she's probably trying to play that shy, kind of, not awkward exactly, but just a little uncomfortable, and she's kind of flirting, and it's reading, but she needs to look at him a little bit more. I would have her pick at least 2 or 3 lines that she intentionally delivers to him rather than out or to the side or to herself. Yeah, and watch the timing, because it is way over 10 minutes. I think we talked about that. I have don't let Ashley cross to Chelsea for the dying beat. I think she needs to cross somewhere else on stage or stay where she's put. I think that's just one of those places where they're getting stuck together in a line on stage. That's probably what that means. But that is it. I thought this is handled very well. You've cast this beautifully. They are wonderful. And it is clear that you have a lot of authority and you've put a lot of work in this. And the blocking's a little muddy, but the characterization is very defined, and there's very defined vision within the characters. So that was nicely done. You got an A. I don't remember, it's like a 40, you got like a 47 or something out of 50, but it's an A. So that's all I have. Message me if something doesn't make sense, or like pull me aside after run through in the next couple days, and I'll help explain that. But yeah, have a good Sunday.